2/3 of the men and women in America between the ages of 40 and 50 are overweight, and more than half of those people are considered to be obese. Approaching and then turning 50 myself changed my perspective on a lot of things. One thing I've learned is I need to learn more. You know, a lot of us waste a lot of time being caught up in ourselves and thinking that maybe we just know everything there is to know about a certain topic. And then something will come along out of the blue and smack us upside the head and make us realize that maybe, just maybe, the opposite of what we originally thought was the only way to do something could just be an even better way. Intermittent fasting is a big example of that for me. I'm Mickey Campbell, author of Make It Happen and founder of Get Right Personal Training. I would like to thank you for tuning into this episode of Transformation Talk Tuesday. The goal of this show is to help anyone looking to transform their body, mind, and spirit find success on their journey. We'll discuss starting the journey, what you should be doing, and then overcoming some of those obstacles that will inevitably come up along the way. I spent literally decades believing and telling hundreds of people that the only way to lose weight, get in shape, and transform their body was by eating several, up to 8 small meals a day, consisting of quality protein, healthy fats, and complex carbohydrates. And I often said skipping meals was about as reckless as taking a right-hand turn on a NASCAR track. I transformed my body at 40 by doing just that. I ate every 3 hours and was always hungry. And very often I got hangry. If you would have told me 10 years ago, I'd be fasting 16 hours plus a day and every so often going on a fast for days at a time, I would have bust out laughing and told you were out of your mind. But here I am, and I have a reason why. See, my number one message to anyone looking to transform their body has and always will be sustainability and consistency. But also at 50, I'll be honest, health concerns are more of a concern to me now than they were at 40. I am healthy, and I want to do what I can to be as healthy and fit as possible as I continue to gain experience in life. That's my PC way of saying get old. I know none of us are going to escape death, but I'm just suggesting that maybe we don't drink and drive, jump off high buildings, and that sort of thing, you know? We should probably take precautions when we can. That's what led me to looking into intermittent fasting a little bit deeper. Obviously eating small meals frequently throughout the day has served me in the past as far as losing weight and getting in pretty good shape. But I was doing cardio one day and watching the Ed Mylett show. This particular show was an interview with Dr. Ian Smith. The bulk of the show was about the benefits Dr. Smith had discovered throughout his research on intermittent fasting. That led me to dig a little bit deeper, and I found Dr. Jim Stepani from bodybuilding.com in a forum type interview where he was praising the benefits of intermittent fasting, especially for us more experienced folk. This was enough for me to stop being so close-minded and look into IF a little deeper. On top of fueling fat loss, IF has many other health benefits. It's been shown to improve interpersonal relationships with food. I know for me, my mind can sometimes stay on food. Now, how many times are we eating a meal and talking about or planning our next one? I've done it. Oftentimes, food is a major topic of discussion. IF helps reduce that as food just isn't at the forefront of the brain anymore. Honestly, that little victory in itself is a boost for self-esteem, and we all know how good that feels, right? Most everyone knows that IF is basically where you don't eat during a certain time frame or window, and that's called your fasting window or state, so forth. And then you only eat during a certain prescribed time, commonly referred to as your feeding state. When we eat food, glucose is absorbed from our gut into our bloodstream, raising blood glucose levels. This rise in glucose causes insulin to be released from the pancreas, so glucose can be moved inside the cells and be used The bulk is then stored in our liver and skeletal muscle. Once those storage levels are filled, our body stores the leftover sugars as fat. During a fasted state, insulin levels are low, and our body taps into that fat storage for energy. The most common time schedule used with what seems to be a typical recommendation is a 16-8 ratio, meaning staying in a fasted state or a state of not eating for 16 hours and having an 8-hour eating window. Think about this. Skipping breakfast alone would lead to a 20 up to and sometimes up to a 40% or more reduction in most of our daily caloric intake. That reduction alone could fuel fat loss. Here's what really piqued my interest and got me thinking hard about IF being the route for me. Generally, the fat loss is found to be visceral fat loss, which removes fat from around the major organs and belly fat. The lower insulin levels improve mental clarity. It's proven to spike human growth hormone, which helps with gaining lean muscle mass. It also induces autophagy, which is the body's way of cleaning out damaged cells in order to regenerate newer, healthier cells. IF lowers insulin and blood pressure levels, improves our cholesterol profile, reduces our risk for developing cancer and Alzheimer's. Now, I'm not saying that IF is definitely for you. I'm simply sharing what I've learned about it and why it's the route I'm choosing and how it's working for me. It's not for everyone, and definitely not for you if you're a brittle diabetic with hard to handle and hard to control diabetes, a child, adolescent, or someone over 70. If you're pregnant, have chronic heart disease, kidney or renal issues, if you've ever suffered from a major eating disorder, IF may not be a good choice as it could trigger those things back up. If you have a low body mass index, meaning that you're severely underweight, or if you've just encountered an extended stay in the hospital, intermittent fasting would not be a good option. Having said all that, I strongly encourage you to discuss any dietary changes with your healthcare provider. But what do I eat and when? I've done several variations of IF during my journey, and with 12, 16, and 20-hour fasting windows, and incorporated some fast and extended fast that went up to 72 hours. What I found seems to best serve me is a 16-hour fast with an 8-hour feeding window, in which I generally eat on a keto form of dieting. Again, I found that this serves me best. One of the reasons is because it's simple and sustainable for me. I'll explain more on that a little bit later. During my fasted state, I have water and black coffee only, with an occasional sugar-free energy drink. Not often though, because that's really a no-no. It's shown that the artificial sweeteners in those can trick the brain into thinking that you're taking in sugar and therefore breaking your fast. So I minimize these, but occasionally I do have one or an unsweetened tea. But for the most part, just water and black coffee. So, water and plain tea or coffee are the only things that we should consume during a fasted state. Another huge benefit of this strategy for me, as I said before, is the sustainability and the simplicity. Honestly, eating every 3 hours is a part-time job. It takes a lot of time and energy planning, prepping, and then eating all those meals. It also takes a lot of thought. And in that process, food got bland for me. Even though I was starving, I'd often have to talk myself into eating the bland food. The way I do intermittent fasting and keto dieting has become so simple. I don't think about food as much, so it doesn't consume my day. I eat during my feeding window only when I'm hungry, and the food I eat tastes really good. I'm rarely hungry and never ever feel hangry. Therefore, I'm saying that at this stage of my life and from my ongoing transformation journey of trying to turn my fat into my fitties, IF and keto is the dietary strategy I'll be utilizing. My suggestion for anyone starting after your doctor gives you the green light, of course, is to begin with maybe a 12-hour fast and a 12-hour feed for a day or so, then go to a 14-10 a day or two, and then work yourself up to a 16-8. See how you feel, and be sure to give it a solid effort for at least 30 days or more before you decide whether or not it's going to work for you. You should also probably realize that it takes a good 6 to 8 weeks before you can really see the full benefits. But pay attention to how you're feeling. Hunger levels, mood, energy, focus, and evaluate those things along with the weight loss and muscle gain. I'd love to hear from you in the comments below. Let me know how your journey's going and what strategies are you using. As always, I'd love to hear from you, and I'm here to help. We're all in this together. So have a great day, and God bless. Hey y'all, thanks for hanging around. Check out the videos here, and if you haven't already, be sure to hit subscribe. I'd love to hear from you, so don't forget to comment below. Please feel free to share this video with anyone you think that the content may serve. God bless.